Yeah, that one was for real.
That was the real clap?
It's for real, Maurice.
First one was better.
It's for real. Hey, guys. Welcome to the Third Party Podcast. It's your host, Talks Too Much, with my co-host. We got Cody in the corner.
What's up?
And we got Slim in the other corner.
I got the red shirt on again.
He's got the red jumper.
Oh, my goodness. 2 times in a row.
Still rooting for Putin.
And he's sporting his favorite hat, the Green Bay Packers.
No.
Remember, we're going to do that thing where we gaslight our audience into thinking you're wearing something that you're not.
Don't do that.
Something different. We got a guest in the studio with us today. We have Colton in the corner, a longtime friend of everyone on the podcast, so we really appreciate you joining us, Colton.
More of an acquaintance.
Thank you for...
I'm happy to be here.
He's there sometimes.
Yeah. So we just got out of the theater. We finished watching the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and wow, was that a fun... That was so much fun. I had an absolute blast watching that film.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love to go to the theater at 10 o'clock in the morning?
Okay, yeah.
Just us and a bunch of children.
Us and a bunch of children.
We did go pretty damn early.
I love popcorn for breakfast. I'll be fine for the rest of the day.
We did go pretty early, but I would say that, I mean, considering the fact that it was sold out at a 10 a.m. showing at our local theater, I think that was probably the right call.
What was it on, like 3 or 4 screens, too?
There were 4 screens that I saw. And
out of 10 theaters, or 10 screens in that theater?
10 screens in total in the whole theater, and at least 4 of them were running the Super Mario Bros. Movie. I also, while everyone was grabbing their seat, I was back in the lobby, and I looked across the street. Our theater has auxiliary parking, or like extra parking.
Yep.
So like they have another parking lot across the street.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
That parking lot has been snowed in for... Like, it's been snowed and it hasn't been used for probably 4 years.
It's almost like we've got 94 inches of snow this year.
It sucks being in the Arctic Circle.
There was a snowplow across the street hitting that parking lot up, and that parking lot hasn't. I asked the manager, and she said that parking lot hasn't been used in the 2 years that she had been there. So that was kind of. And I asked her, I was like,
"Was that your in?"
Well, I just asked her. I was like,
"You're hitting on her, weren't you?"
I was just asking if the reason was.
Did it work?
Well, were they anticipating?
Just slide up to the
lot
manager.
Of extra, parking for the Super Mario movie.
Right. Where do you work?
Is Talks over there flirting?
There's a lot of snow in that parking lot over there, huh?
No, I actually really liked it. I didn't know going in. I really didn't have any expectations for it, but I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, I actually had a lot of fun. I'm not one for happy-go-lucky movies, but yeah, I was enjoying it the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, I've known you for 20-something years. You really don't tend to like that stuff.
No.
That's just like funny and funny, enjoyable, good.
I mean, Cody
you tend to have this
warm stories.
Warm stories, yeah. I find them to be...
Someone's too happy, I have to tear them down. That makes me happy.
I normally find them so fake that it feels super toxic to just see something that fake. But the Super Mario movies didn't feel that way at all. You really went in. I went in knowing, I think, almost exactly what it was going to be, and I think the trailer did a pretty good job of telling what it was going to be about.
It did, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's a Mario movie. Like we were saying earlier, that Mario isn't really known for its story.
Yeah, they didn't really break script, but they wrote it really. They did good job about it.
Instead of saving Peach, though, he's saving his brother.
Yeah, so they did a little bit.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that they did that, and in a lot of movies, when there is this kind of romance or like attraction between characters, they seem to just mock it. Well, and they did that in this movie too.
Between Bowser and Peach, but they didn't really explore it that much with Mario and Peach.
No, but the moment they touched it,
you're right.
You had Toad and DK both jump on him.
That's true.
Instantly.
The moment in the 2 minutes of dialogue that was like, kind of like, hey, you're kind of cool. And you're kind of cool.
Instantly. It wasn't
and
even,
like, are you flirting? You're so embarrassing. What a weirdo. I'm just like, yeah, they don't want anyone dating.
Yeah.
Ever. Anyone. So it was kind of interesting and that...
I thought they did it well, and the whole Bowser swooning over Peach was
Being a
fun.
simp.
So funny every single time.
His ballad was the
Peaches,
best.
peaches, peaches.
Futures,
so
futures.
good.
Yeah, his piano playing skills were off the chart.
I didn't even
good.
realize that was Jack Black until he started singing that song.
I didn't realize it until the
He
credits.
did a good job hiding it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they did something with everyone's voices to where it's like kind of like
Well, Seth Rogen was pretty obvious.
Well,
He
yeah,
laughed,
yeah,
and I was like,
yeah.
oh, that's Seth
Right
Rogen.
away, you didn't know, but like the second
Yep.
he laughed, you're like, yep, you can't hide his laugh.
Well, I mean, that was kind of cool. Yeah, this movie didn't have any characters that I really focused on who they were. Even Chris Pratt. I'm a huge Chris Pratt fan.
Yeah,
I
same
liked
here.
the Terminal List. I thought was awesome. He's doing a good job in Guardians of the Galaxy movies. We'll see what the third one does, or how the third one does. I mean, Chris Pratt's he's kind of hitting his stride right now. A lot of aces across the board, but even him, I wasn't focusing on the actors at all. I mean, I most people here know I despise Seth Rogen. I can't stand him. But
yeah, I concur.
that
You
didn't
said that in a previous podcast.
yeah, but that didn't ruin. But having him voice Donkey Kong didn't make me hate Donkey Kong, right?
Nah, the movie was too fun and just constantly going that you didn't stay on. Like any one character that they introduced, you're like, oh, that's so and so voicing it, and then you immediately move on from it.
Yeah.
This
It's
movie,
like Charlie Day voices Luigi.
He
From,
did really good as him. I
Yeah.
recognized him right away, too.
but then I just like never thought about it again.
Nope, same here.
I think that this movie had something that a lot of movies today really lack, which was, entertainment for
Yes.
entertainment's sake.
Is
Very
that what
Right?
movies are supposed to do?
Well, it pulled me
I
out
thought
of.
you're supposed to push a message.
We're all pretty involved. We all read a lot of news, and we all focus on what's going on in pop culture, and we try to keep informed as much as we can. And it makes it hard to like review things critically without your bias sipping through.
Yeah.
But like this movie made it impossible for me to like have a bad time. I had so
yeah.
much fun.
You could just sit there and enjoy it, and that's nice just to turn your brain off a little bit and just enjoy a movie and not be force-fed anything.
Yeah, when it was starting, I was like, kind of like, all right, this is cool, blah, blah, blah. And then they did the 2D scroller trying to get to their first job, and I was
Yeah.
like, all right, I'm in.
That was fun to watch,
That was
too.
so much fun.
And then the dog just, really sold it for me.
That whole scene could vanish from this movie, and I think it would lose a lot for it. 'Cause that
Yeah.
scene was meant a lot for like. The first 15 minutes of the movie are Mario like
In the real world.
in the real world, which I thought was bizarre. That felt out of place to me almost. It felt really weird that they were in the real world. I thought this whole thing was gonna be. In like.
So
these
it's a Japanese created Italian character that's in Brooklyn.
Yep.
So you're saying, so what you're saying is, that was so something I was talking to the Cody in the car about was the Italian kind of stereotype. They leaned
They did.
really hard
So
into that.
funny.
It was so funny.
They always have, though, in that franchise.
They have, but I mean,
But
In
they're like
today's
making
climate-
fun of it, how hard they lean into it
That's
because
true,
the
yeah.
commercial they did, so they're plumbers in the real world and they're the Super Mario Bros. Company.
Right.
And
Well-
so they made a commercial and they were like heavy accents
I still like how
making
it's
fun of
Mario.
it.
Mia.
Mario Bros. I never really got that because it's just like, it's Mario, and then his bros,
yeah,
It's like,
you almost
fuck
think
the
of
rest of the
Luigi
guys.
as like an add-on to the storyline because.
Well, he is in this movie, definitely.
Yeah.
But
What was the? Does anyone here remember the name of the original game that features Mario? Because it's not Mario. It's
I think it was an
Running
actual
Man or Jumping
Donkey
Man?
Kong game or something.
Isn't it Running Man?
I feel like it's Running Man, or I feel like it's something like that. I might have to have someone look that up.
I don't know. I was born in the 90s.
Jamie, can you pull that up? But the no, I wasn't offended for the. I wasn't offended in any way by the Italian, stereotyping.
hilarious.
There was no reason to be because it was in such good fun.
Yeah,
But
because
the-
they come out of it and right away saying, "Was that too much?"
Yeah,
they
they,
were making fun of it too.
They asked if they overdid it, and that was fair. It was a good question. but the fact that they leaned into it, I thought was really interesting because it kind of was like, if it was any other movie, it would have been a shot across the bow to people who try to cancel that shit. So like, if it was any other film and you had someone just being like, super like
It's a me.
black or like super ghetto accent or anything like that.
Try to do Tropic
And if
Thunder
you-
again.
Yeah, if you
with-
tried to do Tropic Thunder again,
we
that-
can't do that again.
The people who cancel that shit would consider that a shot across the bow. But it didn't, like, that's not what it felt like in this movie, which was really, it stopped me for a second in my tracks a little bit. And I had to think about, like, because you know that they did Chris Pratt because they didn't want a super heavy Italian accent.
Italian man, yeah.
They made a
Well,
joke.
Chris Pratt's like super hot right now. So
Yeah, he's so hot. Pratt, he's so hot right
Yeah,
now.
he looks good in this movie too.
hell yeah.
I want to give a
Those
shout out to
overalls,
the
man.
4 people out there that picked up on my Zoolander reference.
That was my reference.
It was my reference second. I did it better.
The hell do you think I was referencing?
I
Mario
invented the keyboard necktie.
Mario first appeared in 1981 as Jumping Man on the Donkey Kong arcade game.
Jumping.
Jumping Man. Okay, I was
Donkey Kong game. Yeah.
I was right the second time again. It's just, I mean, I wonder how large the Mario franchise is before this film. You know, I mean, Nintendo
Large.
was Nintendo on a downward trend with its Switch and with its gaming platform?
Probably.
No, the Switch brought it back up because the
not.
console before that was the Wii U, and
So that's
that
definitely an upswing.
bombed. That bombed horribly, so bad that the CEO of Nintendo
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
actually
The
like,
Wii U?
Yeah.
It was a portable variant of
motion.
the Wii. It was the Wii, but it was
Yeah.
portable.
So
You could
how
play.
well it did.
Yeah, you could
Yeah.
still play GameCube games and Wii games on it. That was still an option for you.
It's just they went super hard into the like motion gaming.
They sure
thing,
did.
Yep.
Yeah.
and
Xbox
nobody
did that
likes
too,
it.
and
For a
They
while.
fucking got
It's
rid
all
of it.
gone now. They thought it was going to probably stick the landing because most companies, the gaming companies, went that way. For, at least tried to.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not. Here's one thing I'll say is I honestly think that was a blunder to abandon it. Motion capture technology, a lot of industries needed improvement in that, and gaming was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember some real. I mean, I didn't care for how we did it. But I think the Xbox Connect.
It did okay because it brought in other aspects with it. You could shut off, turn on your Xbox, go to different apps.
There's other commands you could do.
You could
yeah.
give it a bunch of commands, which it was pretty cool.
And
I
there was-
did have it for a while, and I liked it.
And they really went after a different audience with it too. So, for instance, this was back when I was in college. I had a lot of my college friends. We would all play Call of Duty or whatever game we were playing 8 years ago. But then the girls would always want to play the Kinect, the dance game.
Oh, Just Dance or whatever.
Yeah,
it was
Just
called?
Dance. And there was like six versions of that game that came out.
Oh yeah.
You're never gonna get that audience back. I mean, that audience.
I'm glad it's gone. Don't bring it back. Let
No,
it die.
I don't think you should bring it back either.
I hate the Wii. I hate the Kinect. I didn't like the PS Move or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, like I said, they all tried.
Yeah, no. It was a thing. Cool. It lasted like a decade. Just leave it in the trash along
Leave
with
it- leave it
along
in
with
its
How about the
grave.
3D
Wii
movies.
Fit board?
The Wii Fit board was actually clever because there was a lot
It
more.
made
step-ups
people
on a
think they were
2-inch platform.
doing exercises
Yeah.
and whatnot.
Oh my gosh, dude! Wii Sports, as long as you weren't cheesing the hell out of it by just flicking your wrist with it,
You sure could just sit there and not do
Get
anything.
you
Twitch
could
motion.
easily just flick your wrist with the Wii controller and
Yep.
you'd be playing the game.
You could just
But
be
if
on
you
the
were
couch.
actually swinging and shit like a loser,
You see so many
you
videos of
actually
people.
Boxing
Tried.
got dangerous.
You've seen so many videos of people throwing their Wii controller through the TV. Oh, it's so funny.
oh my gosh. Well, I guess I'm not segueing away from Super Mario. There's so much more to talk about with this movie, but I just want to ask real quick. Cody and I were talking on the car ride over here about like Nintendo's consoles. So, and I guess other consoles. Where do you guys put the GameCube? And Cody, pause because I know Cody's
okay,
gonna jump
yeah.
on this right away. But where do you guys put the GameCube in rank order against like other consoles?
I like the GameCube a lot. I
You
still
still
got
have
mine.
one.
I
You
still have mine.
Yeah.
To me, the GameCube was like my first real gaming console, and I played the hell out of that.
Yeah.
It just had some classic games on it, I think is
Yeah.
why, I had this Super Mario parties. I had like 7 and 8, 6 and 7, and then a couple Mario Karts.
Smash
I loved
Bros.
it. I think the reason we liked it so much is because back in college we had it and we'd play drinking games with it and all that. We'd play Mario Kart.
It was
We made
also
a huge drinking game out of it.
I'm also remembering that it was one of the first consoles to come out that it wasn't a burden to try to get 4 controllers to run concurrently.
You just plugged it into the
4
front.
ports onto the front. The
Yeah.
PS2 didn't have 4 ports on the front. You
They
had
were
to
on the
get the
back.
adapters.
Didn't they have it on the back?
The PlayStation 2.
Or was it the...
They had something on it.
The-
I don't remember.
Here's the.
I know there was one console that you'd plug them into the back if you didn't have enough.
Well, the Xbox controllers ran with USB.
Oh, that would probably
which
be it,
standardized it, and the Xbox One. I know the Xbox One. I don't know about the 360. I think the 360, but those consoles also had multiple USB jacks on the back, which made it possible to run.
You mean the
multiple
original
controllers.
Xbox? Because there is an Xbox One that came after the Xbox 360.
Thanks. You made
I'm
that
just,
so much
I'm
better.
just clarifying because you
Xbox-
say the Xbox One, it's like, well, that was like 5 years
No,
ago.
the OG Xbox didn't have USB plugs.
Yeah, the Xbox naming is horrendous. Whoever started that naming for the Xbox needs to be fired.
I want to go back to GameCube though.
This is Xbox One.
Worst
This is One S.
console ever.
No.
I
See,
hated it.
You're
You
just
can't get
wrong.
big mother
Controller
truckers
was
on
fucking
Xbox.
horrible.
You're just wrong though. Like
I'm not. I will die on this hill. I will fight you all.
This is the one I choose to die
you heard him,
on.
guys. Get him.
The GameCube is bad.
The
Well,
game.
for one, I was never a Nintendo guy. I had a PlayStation 1, then PlayStation 2 was probably the best console ever, but
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even
agreed.
I think Nintendo, like the more they got into 3D Mario,
screw your tiny discs. You think you're better than us?
tiny discs are the best. Like a
But
tiny
did it have
disc will get you
Blu-ray?
far.
Did it have Blu-ray?
A tiny disc is plenty satisfactory. Like
Yeah.
it'll take care of you.
She says it's average.
Yeah, you don't need a large disc. Like
It does just fine. Gets the job done. That's all
Not the
that
motion
matters.
of the disc.
it's the size of the drive
How fast it spins.
that flips so hard. But
Anyway, the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
We need to go
we
see
can
a
go back
movie.
to the movie.
I
you
do
know,
got
that's right.
to just a quick question because I know we're all gonna agree. Who is your favorite character in the movie?
Oh, hold on. Well, we gotta come up with a clever way to do this because I think you're right. All of us probably agree on this character, except Cody, who's gonna be like, "I want to be an outsider on this."
I was thinking about it. It's
I
like,
know,
what other
it's-
character can I
Okay.
contribute?
First off, does anyone know his name?
Nope.
I don't even know what the hell it's from.
I don't know either. Golden?
The Blue Star?
Yeah, that's all I could.
That's
Well, spoiler alert. Like,
Sorry, that's Lumali.
It's what?
Lumali.
Lumali?
Yeah.
Lumali. I don't know that character.
should be
Is it from
Gloomily.
anything? That
Oh, look.
Is it?
Ba-dum-dum.
Was it invented for this movie?
No, because I watched a review of this, just no spoiler one before we went to see how it was, and I forget what he said, but it's part of the universe, I think, obviously.
I mean,
But hilarious.
Yeah.
Every time they went over the lava pit and all the chains, I'm like, I can't wait for that dumb little thing to open its mouth.
It's like Edgar Allan Poe with a child's voice.
and the other characters acknowledge him every time. Like, the only relax we get is a sweet embrace of death. And then the
We're
Penguin
depressed
King,
enough.
the Penguin King, will you shut up? So funny.
okay, so Lumali.
Sweet embrace of death.
I vote for
Oh, sweet
Lumali
mercy.
also. I vote for Lumali also.
Hilarious.
Toad is a close second for me.
Who?
Toad was always good.
Toad
too.
was
Yeah.
good. He had two.
Started out good and then kind of like plateaued.
Well,
He
I
had-
thought I was gonna be annoyed of him.
I did
right
too.
when I saw him, I'm like, this is gonna be awful.
Absolutely
He's gonna
thought
be
that
terrible.
too.
But he probably surprised me. That's probably why I liked him so much.
You know which character I didn't get enough that didn't get enough screen time? The Ambassador Toad, the one who's like, "Yes, my princess.
Oh.
Good luck on your adventure."
Because his voice was like, that's
I'm like,
good.
damn, you've definitely seen some stuff, bro.
Because every other Toad's character was like a child.
Yeah.
And then he was like a deep.
He was like an ambassador,
Yeah.
like some big important character to the princess, like an advisor.
Nom or something.
Yeah, it was good.
He needs his own like spin-off movie where he's just like advising Toads.
The Adventures of
The
General Toad.
The Adventures of General Toad. I would watch that movie. No,
No, my toads.
okay. Reverse question. Was there any character in this movie that you didn't like?
I was kind of just thinking that as we were processing that.
The closest I got was Donkey Kong because it's Seth Rogen.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a bias there.
that's always going to be in the back of my mind. But even him, I think if I had
But
to
I
pick,
got over real quick. Yeah.
was the old boss of the Mario Brothers, his old boss, was that Fix It Felix, or was that
Oh,
supposed
you
to
talk about Grumpy? Kong?
No,
We're talking about the older.
the boss of the Super Mario Brothers.
Before they started their little company.
Oh, okay.
What the fuck was his name again?
Was that meant to be a Fix-It Felix character? Because he looked
know.
a lot like it.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's in the first
it
few
was in the
minutes. They're at the
scene in the
cafe.
cafe.
They
No,
throws
I mean
tip
the
down.
Fix-It Felix. Like, what are you? I have.
Oh,
Okay.
that's another movie.
Okay, Wreck-It Ralph.
Wreck-It
You know,
Ralph.
you've heard of
yeah,
Wreck-It
yeah,
Ralph.
yeah,
I think you
yeah.
didn't see it, right?
No.
Colton, you saw Wreck-It Ralph?
Yes.
I have. It's really good. It's a good movie too.
Am I insane here, Slim?
I didn't connect the two, I guess, but I can see where you're getting at. Yeah.
Okay. I might have been grasping at nothing, but he was probably my least favorite character, I'd say, out of the entire thing.
I mean, he's got like 2 minutes of screen time though, so.
Right. Yeah, but he didn't need to be in there at all. He's
I
like,
guess not. It's
I'm
more
just
like
a bully that you had to deal with a couple of times, and I'm not even a good one.
It's a "fuck you, you suck" character.
I hate you because you're short and Italian. It's like
Mostly the Italian part.
yeah.
I don't know. I think I liked all the characters really well. I honestly can't think of one I didn't like.
Maybe Grumpy Kong was probably the shallowest.
Yeah.
Grumpy Kong was probably the.
But it's like they try to make him really funny
you only
and
have so much
Dewey at the
screen
same
time.
time.
I even loved the bouncer Kong, the guy who's like at the gate when he's like flips his sunglasses.
Yeah,
down,
that was.
and then the other Kong that was like building their cars for them.
Oh yeah.
That was a great scene.
That was so
Went
funny.
Putting the
full
carts
Mad
together.
Max.
Yeah.
And then Toad rolls up with a Hummer H2.
Yeah, it's huge. That was
Kitted out,
funny.
fully kitted. So Colton,
Get in,
you work on
bitches.
cars. What is the practical implications of that scene as it relates to the geopolitical situation going on in the Mushroom Kingdom?
Let's apply
Well.
real world shit to that.
Yes.
Well, I was actually looking, and there's like little air cleaners on there and everything.
Oh,
They
yeah.
didn't skip anything. There was
To the
spark
frame
plug
up, man.
wires and everything.
What would you say, Cody?
It's
Well, they gotta
they
run.
start with the frame and then they slowly build. I like that how they just like picked. There's like a. It's almost like like in the game where you're like scrolling through or whatever.
It's exactly
and then you
like
hit
that.
A.
Putting your parts on there. Yeah.
So, I guess for people listening, one thing we took away from this film was that it was another notch in the belt, another successful movie for fandom. Like if you have played Mario, if you've played anything from the Smash Brothers universe, if you played Donkey Kong, you will find so much in this movie to love.
Even
And
if
so
you
many
don't,
references that
There's a
even
lot.
if you've played like the smaller games, there's probably a reference to
there
it.
are. I mean,
Oh yeah, I haven't
You-
played a lot, but I
you
got a
obviously
lot
don't
of
need
it.
to be fans of those things to go to this because it's just a generally funny movie. But you will get more enjoyment the more you've seen of those kind of universes.
If an alien landed from outer space and had no introduction to Mario, Donkey Kong, any of these characters at all, I think that it might be a difficult experience because the star
Wait,
is.
what are you saying?
What?
If you're an alien, you might not get this movie.
I'm saying that people who are not.
No shit.
I'm saying that people who are not introduced to the Mario universe and to the. I love how we're just calling it the Mario universe, the Smash Bros. universe.
The Nintendo universe.
Who doesn't know who Mario is though? It's so iconic that everyone.
Well, I was
if you
saying-
see him, you know, like, oh, I recognize his character.
Look, this
Yeah, I
is.
was saying on the way over here too. It's like I haven't played a Mario game since like fucking Super NES or whatever,
Yes.
and I still got a lot of it, and it was fine. Like I still had a great time and had fun with it.
Listen, I'm just speaking on behalf of the 4 people in
Of
the
the
world who haven't
aliens.
seen it, and they just need to be prepared for what they're going to be walking into. Like, I mean, don't you guys agree though that if they're like 4 people who aren't familiar with this universe, it's going to be a
Did you
difficult
take a
watch.
tally?
You'll still get the jokes. You'll still get the humor.
Yeah,
It can be a standalone movie. It's just very good.
Yeah,
You don't
I'm just
have
trying
to
to
know anything
envision.
about it.
Look, I'm not dissing the movie. I have nothing negative to say about it. It's awesome. But I am thinking that all of these references are what is the movie. I don't
Maybe-
think that there's
I think
anything
the
in this
most-
movie substantive besides the references.
The most like what the fuck is happening moments would probably be like when they're getting the powers from the blocks and the star. That would probably be
Yeah.
like the most confusing.
You will be
parts.
lost there.
But other than
But
that,
the comedy, the jokes, like the couple of funniest people like Bowser and Luma Lee, those are just straight up jokes.
yeah, good.
Some
yeah.
of Bowser's things are hilarious. Like when he's like, "Oh, we're gonna go to the Mushroom Kingdom, and burn it down his arm." He's like, "Yeah." Like, then I'll ask her to marry me.
What?
What if she doesn't want to and he like kills him on the spot and he's just like one of them dry bone skeletons? Oh, so funny.
I want to.
Luigi had a creepy part. I was like,
Yeah, there was some little kids in there like, this is kind of creepy. He's getting chased by skeletons.
Right when Luigi got to that area and all the dry bones start coming up chasing him, I was like, this is intense.
They think he's safe in the mansion, and then the like lightning hits or whatever. And it's like all the
shy guys are behind him.
Yeah, this is a PG film. I mean, obviously it's not. Obviously, you can't get that PG-13 rating out of it. It's just impossible with this film.
No, definitely not.
But that would be. I mean, what is
that might scare a kid? You know,
Yeah.
lightning flashes and there's like 4 shy guys behind him.
I can see like 9-year-old, 8-year-old, 7-year-old me being terrified by that.
All the
There's
dry
a
bones
skeleton
chase him,
turtle
his
in my
head-
closet.
His head gets knocked off and it's like biting after him, just the head.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. I mean, it was really fun.
It was fun for us.
It was so much fun. But
Okay, yeah, here's another thing. I understand it's a kid's movie and the plot's like whatever, but like immediately when he gets to the other world or whatever,
yeah.
Toad's like, all right, let's go see the princess. And
Yeah.
it's like, all right, come with me.
They're not joking around in this movie. They get to their beats quick.
Do you think there was what do you think the deal was with the runtime being so low? I don't know if maybe it was a budget issue, but
What do you
this
mean? It's
movie
like
could have
it's almost 2 hours.
I'm
this
glad.
movie could have benefited from
Hour.
another 15, maybe 20
Nope,
minutes.
I'm glad. I don't like movies nowadays when like, oh, it's 3 hours and 15 minutes. Avatar.
Some of
But
my
we're
favorite
talking about an
movies are
hour and a
3.5
half.
hours long.
But we're
though.
talking about
Yeah,
an
it
hour
was
and a
back
half.
in the
There
day
are
when they were
very
doing
few
epics, so.
Yeah.
There are very few new movies that come out that are this short.
That's true.
No, I mean most studios want to keep it like you look at a lot of run times of like big hit movies that are coming out. It's always like 2 hours and 3 minutes or whatever. It's always at that 2 hour mark.
Yeah.
Every studio doesn't want it to go over that. That's why Zack Snyder's both the Batman vs Superman and the Justice League. Justice League was going to be split into two movies because he couldn't make one big long movie.
Which would have been smart. You know, cliffhanger,
Yeah.
but it would have been. I mean, honestly, I'm happy with what we got. The Snyderverse version of the Snyder Cut. I'm happy with that. I don't want 2 movies out of it.
Do you know there are extended cuts of the extended editions of Lord of the Rings? There are even longer ones
That's not
that
funny.
haven't
how long
been
is
that
that
haven't been
movie?
released.
Well, hold on? Is that just with deleted scenes?
Yeah, it's like they just throw in more deleted scenes. So instead of like Fellowship being the extended version being 3.5 hours, it'd be like fucking 4 hours or whatever.
I gotta find those.
Well, it's not released. It's just like
they just exist.
It's like yeah.
Oh, okay.
We got more shit on the cutting room floor,
Good.
which they could put out.
We need more. We need more good Lord of the Rings content. There is nothing right now except for what we've got. But I back on the runtime thing. An hour and 32. What I will say is that it didn't feel short. Like it didn't feel like an hour and 32-minute movie. But I do think there were scenes in this that were maybe a little rushed. For example, the one you guys just pointed out, where when Mario comes to the world,
Oh, okay. I see what you
he immediately goes to the kingdom, no questions asked. No, I mean, there was even a moment in the trailer where he's like, "What is this place?" They even cut that line out. Like
they did, yeah.
They have there's so much more. I think almost every scene in this movie would benefit from being a minute longer. And
Yeah,
that's
he
what I'm
hops
kinda
out of the
getting
pipe. Toad's like, "What's up? You want to go see a princess?" And they head there immediately,
Yeah.
and then just immediately get an audience. I mean, there was a scuffle in the castle,
No.
but
at. No,
I feel like they wanted to make it seem easy to get to the castle because it's toads. I mean, they're not
Yeah.
dangerous. It's not like they expected him to be there.
I'm not expecting like the most extensive plot either.
What
It's
if Bowser?
like-
What if Bowser came through that tube? What if
I just the noise just popped in my head. I can't make the noise, but when they pop out of the tubes,
Yeah.
yeah, that.
something like that?
Yeah, close enough.
Nice. That will prove that this podcast is still in sync after post recording or after post editing.
Otherwise, people have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
But if Bowser came through that tube, which is completely possible.
Well, they sent that big ass rocket through it.
Big Red Rocket.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, when that Italian plumber from Brooklyn nuked the multiverse.
That yeah.
Yeah.
Was anyone else getting?
I was worried they weren't gonna bring the worlds back apart. I thought they were just gonna.
They're gonna be stuck in Brooklyn,
and then there's
How
gonna
did
be
they-
these bricks floating in Brooklyn.
And one random giant gorilla that can talk wearing a tie.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Probably, a couple thousand people died too when that Bowser castle came through. It just lands in Brooklyn. And we're all
Coming
just
in like
ignoring.
Thanos from
This is
Endgame.
fine.
Yeah.
And shouldn't there have been thousands of toads get sucked through that multiverse
Oh,
into
yeah, absolutely.
into Brooklyn, just running around?
It's very. It was giving me very
What are
2001
they? They're not
vibes.
toads.
That's
They're
what
not
she kept calling
mushrooms. Yeah,
kept
I meant
calling
like
them toads.
they're toads, but like what? Because they wear mushroom hats or whatever.
You sure they're hats?
Yes.
What? No, they're not hats.
Yes, they are.
No, that is their body.
They're mushroom people called
They
toads.
are mushroom. What is your? What are you implying?
I'm not
Yes.
implying anything. It's just fucking confusing.
Yes, they are a race of beings.
I thought
mushroom
Toad was
people
just Toad, that
called Toad.
specific dude. But then she's like, no, not all my toads, or some shit.
That was weird because there's Toad and there's Toadette, and I thought there was more also.
Is a female Toad? I mean, like not in
Yeah.
the movie, but like games and whatnot.
Yep. She's like got a pink hat or head.
It's like Minnie Mouse.
It's
but
canon.
Toad.
It's
and
canon.
Then it's like braids, but they're pink as well. Yeah, she's in games.
Yep. It was kind of because I agree. I thought the I thought the mushroom people being called toads that threw me off a little. But I didn't dwell on it. It was really like an instant kind of thing. I moved
Yeah.
right past to the next thing because I had to because the movie's so short and I had to pay attention. Couldn't go 3 seconds with dead air
I'm sorry
time.
this
Everything
movie
had to
made
be
for
going-
children wasn't over 2 hours long.
I mean, fine, but still.
Like, kids are watching fucking TikToks. Anything longer than 10 seconds, they lose all interest.
Oh, there's no way this movie doesn't get
Same
kids
with me.
watching it 7,000 times. This is gonna be this generation's
Just on the
Frozen
background,
or Lion King. What?
like just sitting on the background, always on kind of thing. In homes.
exactly. I mean, I grew up. The first movie I watched that I understood and liked was Lion King, and that came out the year after I was born. So, I mean, that was my film. For my brother, it was like Scooby Doo, and then this will be some kids' like #1 movie. I want all of the Mario plushies
for sure.
and shit. I want the Bowser like squirt gun or something. I don't know.
Squirt.
I don't know.
It shoots.
Toys. The
It
toys.
shoots Ancient Orange and it lights on fire.
Jesus.
I don't always go to the darkest place, but
What are you, Luma or whatever her name is?
Lumily.
Lumalee?
fuck yeah.
And then Bowser will fire Agent Orange and all the mushroom people.
The
Just
only,
makes you want to play saxophone.
the only thing that's final is the void.
Another,
Just loving the ending to that.
another character I
So good.
really loved was Blue Shell. The
Oh.
guy on
A
the
boss fight, basically.
that
Like,
was awesome. He walks away from the
Kamikaze.
wreckage and he's like, he walks away from the wreckage of his giant vehicle and he's like, "Ah," and then he flies
Blue
away.
shell.
And he blows up the Rainbow Bridge and stuff. I'm just like, that was pretty cool.
I was
from a
wondering when they were going to
small-
throw that in because
Yeah.
I knew a blue shell had to come.
Yeah, that was just kind of cool coming from an NPC
Yeah,
small character.
That was a
like,
boss fight
a
for
side
sure.
character. That was pretty cool. I was excited to see that. Did you find anything, Colton, on the race of Toad people?
I did. The name.
Just more of that.
More of that.
This
Oh.
adorable. I think Cody said it best. The Edgar Allan Poe.
Mushroom retainers?
Are they like shepherds of the mushrooms? Super dark and depressing, but it's the character's so light and love and
Oh.
well, very nice.
So they're mushroom people, but they're also toads.
The more you know.
Oh gosh. Yeah, we're yeah. I don't know.
Lost
People-
in translation.
People. Yeah.
Japanese to English isn't always perfect.
Do you guys
No.
think this movie will be successful enough to launch a sequel?
Yep. I think
Yep.
they're already planning a Mario verse.
I mean, why not? I
They'll
mean,
bring in like every Nintendo property.
I
or
just
whatever.
want a
It'll be
movie
like
with Luma Lee.
just more of that.
More of that on repeat.
This adorable I think Cody said it best. The Edgar Allan Poe.
It sure
the
was.
baby Edgar Allan Poe. So there is a character who's just like super dark and depressing, but it's the character's so light and love and.
What's funny is I think all the adults in the theater were laughing at that character the most.
Oh, for
Oh
sure.
gosh.
It's like anytime that character came over, you're like, oh, what's he gonna fucking say
Yeah.
now?
The vibe in this movie was also really refreshing. You know, I went to the theater, and you know the positivity in the theater was just so unmatched to anything I think I've seen in years. And I mean, again, it's made for kids. You have a lot of kids laughing at jokes and stuff in the background. I was like, damn, that is kind of funny. That is kind of like, okay, I'm having a good time. And I mean, all these kids are having a good time. You know, the world outside is a bit smaller when you have more content like this. When you have more films that come out and it's just a good entertainment, the world outside gets a little less, you know, crappy. So
Wow, you took a lot away from this movie.
I did.
You had a revelation
His
in
whole
there.
outlook on life switched.
Well, I mean, it's just refreshing to see a
Maybe
film
the
without.
economy isn't collapsing.
Well, it's definitely collapsing. That's definitely happening. I mean, this movie is about fictional turtle monsters. It's not fixing the economy, but it's. But I tell you what, for an hour and a half, not 2 hours, sad face, I was able to forget about everything else going on outside.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a big surprise.
So, I mean, what would the spin-off look like? Would it be another Mario film? Would we go into Donkey Kong with Seth Rogen? I mean, because there's no way Seth Rogen doesn't carry this film further, or carry
Waluigi?
this franchise more. It could be Luigi, but he was so. To
I'm
be
thinking
fair,
bring
he was
in, like,
so
the-
unimportant in this film.
Well, I don't know what the story behind Waluigi is, but he's
Oh,
the only
Waluigi.
other bad guy I can think of that isn't in the. Yeah.
Yeah.
With Waluigi
I think they
and-
do like a Super Smash Bros. Thing where they just bring in like Kirby and Samson.
Oh,
and
that's
all that kind
good.
of shit. Because that's all Nintendo property.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I could see them doing that,
I
or
don't-
at least being a big section of the next movie.
Right.
I'd be surprised if that
here's
didn't
the
happen.
problem with the. I don't understand that. So this is clearly Nintendo. Nintendo has clear rights to Mario. I mean, obviously, that may not even be necessary to dig into. But what does Super Smash Bros. Is everything inside of Super Smash Bros. A property of Nintendo?
Probably
I
not
think
everything.
so, or it's just like a limited rights kind
Yeah.
of thing, towards like
They don't need to bring
You can-
everything in. I mean, you don't need all the characters from Super Smash Bros. To get a point across. That the same thing like during the Mario Kart part of it. You know, you don't gotta bring everything. Just get some characters and carts, and we'll get the joke.
Don't you
That's
think there'd
what
be an
I s-
expectation though? I mean, don't you think there'd be so
Well,
if you did a Smash Bros universe, you got to think that someone out there is going to be hung up on the fact you don't see Link from Zelda, or the fact you don't see Charizard or
no.
Pikachu.
The next
no.
movie is Yoshi's movie.
Yeah.
We didn't
I
see
was
Yoshi.
I was
We did
surprised.
see
I was
Yoshi.
waiting
We
for
did
that.
see Yoshi.
Well, once
They
you
were
saw
running
Pink
by the
Yoshi,
river.
You saw a whole,
whole
herd
herd
of
of 'em.
Yoshis running in the meadow,
but they weren't relevant,
Did we?
which was
Yeah.
disappointing.
Yeah.
I wish they'd been.
and then
more-
you saw a Yoshi egg at the end who was getting offered to Bowser.
Yep.
you see more of those stupid bouncing fish than you do Yoshi.
Oh, for
People
sure.
are going to be
Cheap
picking
Cheeps.
out Easter eggs from this
Yeah.
movie forever.
Well, yeah, the whole movie is Easter eggs.
Yeah.
like,
Mamba.
I remember. Remember when Mario went through the portal? I remember. Oh, good times.
Yeah, and they have that whole like montage thing where it's like he's got to beat this level and he just keeps on
Yeah.
dying.
Yeah.
What did you guys
We've
think
all
of
been
that?
through that.
I want to talk about the montage a little bit more, but what did you guys?
Montage.
Gotta have a
As
montage.
soon as that song came on, I just turned to Jimmy like montage time.
And it was, and he didn't even make it to the goal. He didn't
Yeah.
even,
He
didn't even
He
succeed.
didn't even do it. Yeah.
He was the same character by the end of it that he was at the beginning of it.
There really is no character arc
There really-
for anyone.
No,
No, it's-
just enjoy it.
yeah, he overcame the obstacles.
Dumb fun movie.
But so which Mario games do you guys remember playing? Like what games from the Mario universe, from Nintendo games, do you guys remember being like?
What was that
super
one on the
relevant to
Super
your
NES?
childhood? What's that?
What was that one on the Super NES? That's the last one I played. I think it was like Super Mario 2 or some shit.
Well, there was Super Mario Brothers. I mean, there's Super Mario Brothers, which I credit as like the game. Obviously, there's games that go back to Nintendo. or the first Nintendo system, and even more, even like you have what was it, like Mario Tetris on, or Dr. Mario on the Super Nintendo. But Super Mario Brothers, the game from the Super Nintendo, I credit that as being like the starting point. That's the place where it becomes a really fun, really good game. I mean, you have save points, you have all sorts. You can progress with 2-player. I mean,
We're talking about the same console, right? It's like that gray console with like purple buttons and whatnot.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, that's the one I played on.
There's the Nintendo. There's the Super Nintendo, and then I think does it jump to the N64?
Nah, there's one or two. I don't remember.
Because
there's so many consoles.
The selling point of the N64 was that it was the first console with 64-bit. I think it was 64-bit
Hence
graphics.
the name.
So it's but the Super Mario Brothers game was how I kind of grew up with that. I played Donkey Kong, I think, before I played Super Mario Brothers.
God, that was probably like Donkey Kong was like my Dark Souls back in the day.
it
was so difficult.
It was really difficult to beat. This was back when games didn't have difficulty modes. They were just hard puzzles you had to beat with a combination of button pushes. It was Colton, did you play any what Mario game or game like stood out the most to you when you were
I started with the same Mario everyone else did, the Mario Brothers, and then probably Mario Kart and Sunshine. Those are the only ones I really remember playing.
What did you okay, am I alone here in thinking that the Mario Karts are just like someone's sadistic attempt at like comedy? Just watching all of these
It's
people
Rainbow
just
Road.
struggle and get frustrated and pissed off that they are just they get hit by a red shell or they get
You
struck by
wait until the
lightning.
leader's like almost at the finish line, then you hit him with a red shell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Then
no
pass 'em.
YouTube
Controller
content that
goes to the TV. You're no longer friends anymore.
there's no YouTube
You're not
content that
coming to my
exists
wedding.
talking about
You're not coming to my birthday.
there's no content that exists out there talking about Mario Kart that isn't complete rage bait.
Yeah.
And so I feel like maybe that was someone's sadistic like attempt at making themselves laugh and just using everyone else's misery for their own joy.
And that's why it's fun.
We're gonna get lifelong
You'll
friends
get-
to hate each other.
Yeah, you don't get mad at each other. Mario Party's worse. Because you start, like, towards the end, start stealing coins or stars from each other. It's friendship's over.
Yep.
to talking to Slim and Colton.
Just imagine a grown man standing up, throwing his controller on the ground. Friendship over.
We did that to a guy one time. We were playing a game. He was in first, and my roommate stole a star, so the guy got in second. And then he landed on my thing. I could either stole a star from my roommate and win the game, but then I stole the other guy's star who my buddy just stole a star from, got him to last, and I didn't win the game. He's like, "What are you doing? You could have won the game. You just want me to lose." And he put his controller on, went to his room, and slammed the door. I was like, as soon as he did, I looked at my roommate. Worth it. I don't even care. I don't even care if I lost
Worth
this
it.
game. It was worth it.
It doesn't matter if I win as long as you lose.
Yep, that's all I cared about.
Oh my gosh, you are a special kind of person.
You could win the game. What are you doing? I don't care about winning. I just want you to
I want to
lose.
destroy you.
For me it was the Super Mario Brothers game and Donkey Kong. I played those so much. I spent time with my mom, I spent time with my brother, I spent time with other members like my step siblings, and we would just hammer that out for months. We'd spend months trying to clear a world in Donkey Kong.
I don't think I ever beat either of them.
I don't think I ever played Donkey Kong.
I
Maybe
didn't
in an
either.
arcade version, but not.
I got so far in Super Mario Brothers that we unlocked the Star Worlds.
It was like Donkey Kong 3D or some shit, wasn't it?
This game wasn't 3D. I mean, maybe the pictures were meant to look really good, but
Right.
it's not the same thing.
I don't remember. I swear I've had this conversation before with someone.
When the Wii came out, though, they put a lot of effort in trying to revive those 2D scroller games.
My
They-
Because the
fiance's
Wii
got
was so weak.
the
Wii
one
sauce.
for the Wii, the Super Mario Wii one.
Yeah.
She's so good at that game. She beat it. She got it. Like, she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go buy Mario." I'm like, "Oh, cool. You can just hang out and play games." I come up at like 4 hours later. She's still playing. She's like, "I'm half done." I'm like, "How are you this good at this game?" And I watched her play. I'm like, I could never. She's way better at that game than I will ever be.
Oh, back on this Mario Kart thing, I was just gonna say real quick that if Slim and Colton, because you guys both have like fiance and wife, If you guys are ever losing an argument, you can just say, "Let's settle this on Mario Kart."
Oh no, my wife.
I would destroy her.
My wife's never played a video game.
No mercy.
No mercy.
Kylie's never played a video game. Ever.
Me and the
That's the
fiance
truth.
play Mario Party once in a while together, and it's no mercy. the gloves come out, just destroyed. Funny
very
enough, though,
competitive.
she completely destroyed me 3 or 4 nights ago. We played. She had like 5 stars and crushed me. I'm like, this is the lowest moment of my life.
Why don't you should?
I'm
Have
sleeping on the couch.
I basically.
You should move that console upstairs next time we're over at your place.
It is
doing
upstairs.
something.
I just moved it upstairs.
Oh well, why don't we do that at game nights?
We can now.
Well, I love Mario Party, and I never get to play because I have no friends, just you guys.
Yeah.
And you guys are the fucking worst.
I know we suck.
Thank you. I try.
Just kidding. I love you guys.
Yeah, we just moved it up like a month ago. So
Yeah, then we got to get on that.
okay,
We got to.
Plan set.
Yeah.
we'll get on that.
Tuesday at 6.
Tuesday.
I'm busy Tuesday. What about Wednesday?
I'm busy every day.
I work.
Anyhow,
Well, what do you guys think? I mean, Wow, I think we kind of hammered this one. What the reviews on this game, or the reviews on this movie, are really interesting. They're really
kind of
weird.
divided
Yeah,
for some reason.
it's the fans versus the critics on this.
well, it always
what's
is.
new.
Well, I mean, you have some examples of, a mutually agreed upon content. I mean, it's
Very rare these days.
But this one's kind of egregious. I mean, sometimes it's off by like a point or two. Like it's a 7 against a 9, right?
I don't think it's doing horrible.
a 6
in
against an 8.
IMBD. It's like a 7 something.
Yeah, it's
7.4.
Well, who's tanking it? The critics or the fans?
The critics are tanking it. The
Well,
critics
that's-
are.
I think it's worse on Rotten Tomatoes.
I always follow the fans, in my opinion. I've always followed the fans' opinion over the critics.
Well,
I
the
always
critics
think
are always based on political stuff.
it's so they never seem to get it right.
It's not woke.
Yeah,
They're on political, and they like.
Holy shit!
That's not even close. That's 4 points
This is
off.
okay. Yeah, this is way
Oh,
farther
well,
off
I knew
than
it'd be
thought.
worse on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's
Wow.
4 points
Okay,
difference.
so if you're listening to this podcast right now, just do something a little fun. Just Google search the Super Mario Bros. On Rotten Tomatoes, and
And then like
The
and subscribe.
2023 one.
like and subscribe. If you can go, yeah.
If you're this far in, you're already. You probably are
the
subscribed,
93.
but
That one says, I think, sitting at 36%.
Well, there's probably more uniformity between the critics and the
Probably.
fans on that movie. But the Rotten Tomatoes score for the critics is 56% today, and 96% audience score.
And this is the third day the movie's been out.
It's been out for no time at all. And these aren't kids putting these reviews up.
No.
These are, it's made for a PG audience.
Almost 200 critics, and
Yeah.
instead of 56.
Yeah. It's amazing.
They
It's-
just don't like Chris Pratt.
Is that it? I mean,
Yeah.
Well, there was no political message.
I feel like it's
That's-
more
Peach
that.
was kind
that's
of a girl
why
boss.
they probably are like, yeah.
She's just a strong female character. That's nothing new.
Yeah.
She did a good job. I love.
She was a
Peach in
great
this
character.
movie.
I think Peach was more balanced than we've seen most, female characters in most content
Yeah.
lately.
Yeah, no, it was a good character.
And
she's played by the love of my life, so.
Oh, tell us about that.
Anya Taylor-Joy, I love that woman.
I gotta see a photo or something of that because I have no idea who that is. How do you spell her name? Anya
You'll figure it out.
Taylor-Joy. Okay.
I'm gonna watch you struggle.
Oh, okay. She's
That
from
lady.
She's from the Queen's Gambit. She's
That's
from.
Jack Black.
Yeah.
It's not Jack.
Big dude.
That's
with
the second
beard.
love of my life.
Yeah. Okay. She's awesome. Yeah.
I thought Jack Black was just flipping us off. I got the side view of it. It's like, hi, Jack.
I do think that.
And Jack's singing about Peach. And he just ends up calling her Peaches the rest of the movie. It's like, hi, Peaches. I'm going to start calling everyone that now. Peaches.
Well, the critics score. The critics consensus on here isn't really talking about really anything missing, or it's not Chris Pratt. It just.
Are you going through some of the reviews, seeing what they're talking about?
That's,
Yeah.
That's what I'm going through.
I'm
right
trying
now,
to
too,
like
looking
get
at
a
'em.
consensus
Like,
here.
yes, let's all take a moment to read.
Reading's tough sometimes.
People at home,
the audience is
Let me
waiting.
spell out all the words. It's
Yes.
immun.
To he? No, the. Oh.
Oh well.
Oh.
I
Okay,
mean,
so here's one. A top critic from Times, from UK Times. It's emotionally bland and yet garish enough to psychologically sedate the preteen Easter audience. Preteen Easter audience?
Are we retarded?
We're preteens.
Yeah, we're not.
I thought so.
what teenagers going to this?
I don't know.
It's gonna
This
be.
isn't-
This is for
people
the
who
adults
grew up.
who are gonna enjoy the nostalgia and subtle jokes, and
Right.
children.
Yeah.
And their kids.
And yes.
Yeah.
That's who this is
And
for.
then us.
No group of 14-year-olds
Because
are
you
gonna
got
go to
a
this movie.
So I guess another one is that it's forgotten to create an engaging story. Look, there's some validity in that
There
argument.
is. We already said that.
Right.
Yeah.
We said it wasn't a huge story-driven, but can we all just sit down and enjoy a movie to just enjoy it? It was enjoyable.
Dumb.
It doesn't have to
Fun.
be an emotional
Funny.
roller coaster.
I
It
didn't
was
have
just
to think
good.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't Lord of the Rings. We want to sit there and get huge character development and watch them go through a journey. Let's just sit down and have fun with a movie.
Yeah, usually there's that like super low moment, like right before the climax of a movie for the main character in like kids movies, and I don't think this one even
Well, I
had
guess
that.
it kind of did actually when the
Oh, he
bridge
fell
broke
in. He fell into the
and
water.
the fish ate him. We're like, well,
They were there for all of 5 minutes.
yeah, the Donkey Kong's like, my father doesn't support me. Mine either. Well, he's right.
Your father sounds like a great man.
I'd like to meet your father. So funny.
He's right. You do suck.
Your father's.
All right, let's get out of here.
Like, I didn't expect that out of Donkey Kong. That's why it was so funny.
A rivalry between Donkey Kong
Your
and
father's
Mario.
right.
I actually wasn't expecting that. I mean,
I liked it.
there's some content. I think there's content that you can see on like Smash Bros. Where those two do like face off. And,
Well, the
like,
first
cover art
game,
or something,
the first
but-
game, Mario's trying to take out Donkey Kong in that fucking ladder scroller game. Donkey Kong's throwing barrels.
In Donkey Kong?
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yep.
in Donkey Kong. Okay, so there's history.
That's how it
I have
started.
There's history I've forgotten while we've been talking about this. So you're right. That actually makes, if that's what it's predicated on, that makes more sense.
I think so.
So I mean, there you go. But I think honestly the critics, maybe they're doing their job on this. I don't know. Maybe the critics are doing their job. I mean, they're supposed to like critique a movie and find its flaws. And this movie, I mean, for people who really care about and want to go see a story, there isn't one. You know, there's not a real story in this.
Well, he had to save his brother.
Well, you've seen this story 100 times, so it's nothing new, but it's one you will enjoy in a new light.
Sure. I mean, it's definitely an enjoyable experience. I think maybe the critics are trying to say that it should be something different. I think that any deviation from what this movie already is a mistake. I think this movie's effectively
Yep.
perfect.
Don't change it.
What would you guys? So how would you guys rate this? I guess if you had to put a number on it, Cody, what would you give it for a number?
Oh.
1 through 10 it. Or you know what? 1 through 100. Let's see how close you are to Rotten Tomatoes.
He already knows what Rotten Tomatoes put up.
Well, yeah.
can't see
I'll
it.
give it like a 75, 7.5.
That's
Close to an 8. I mean, it's kind of because then you have to like account as like, well, what would you give like some of your favorite movies? And
fair.
it's
Fair.
like it's not even close. Like, I might watch this again at some point.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it on shrooms.
Just
What?
take this into consideration. Let's say you wouldn't go out of your way to go see it, but if it was sitting on the background somewhere, you would sit there and watch it. I guarantee it. You
I
would
would.
get zoned
Yeah,
into
if it
it.
Absolutely.
randomly came up
For sure.
like,
You
through
would
streaming,
100% watch it.
This movie is magnetic for sure. You could definitely be doing something else, and it will draw you in.
And
Absolutely.
let's just say you left the TV on for something. You went out, walked out of the room 2 hours later, came back and it was on. You'd be like, you just sit down and watch it again.
A better way,
100%.
A better way I'd phrase that would be, if I had this movie on in the same room, and there were other people talking, I would want to fight them.
Yeah, you'd be like,
I'm trying to watch Mario.
We're trying to watch his movie.
Yeah.
He's
Or you
trying to
wouldn't
watch
even,
his movie.
You wouldn't even know what they're talking about. You'd be zoned into the movie. Guaranteed.
I'll probably buy it. I just really liked the movie.
was good.
I'll put it in and watch it on
Yeah.
a random day.
Yeah, I mean,
What would you give it, Jimmy?
Oh, why am I next? I don't feel like I should. Be
Oh,
next.
you single me out.
Yeah, Slim?
I'll go. That's fine. I'd give it an 8.5.
There's a, I mean,
8.5 to 9. If you can go in that mindset of just going there to enjoy it and laugh at the jokes, it is an excellent movie.
It actually looked really good. The animation was
It did
amazing.
look good, yeah.
it really did. There was scenes in this where I was like,
Bowser gets down to business right away and he breathes fire all over the ice city. That looks so good.
the
It goes full blown Kill Bill in the first
He
5
sure
minutes.
does.
and Colton brought up like the attention to detail just in like the cars. Like it's like
So good.
And watching him run across the mushrooms too, like there was actually footprints left behind too.
And
It's
the-
not
yeah,
like it
that's-
just.
I didn't pick up
It
on
looked
that.
good.
Like the way that it was just really good animation.
Yeah, the visuals were awesome. Honestly, does anyone know their budget on this film?
New.
I feel like water is really hard to animate.
I've
Or at least that's what I've heard.
extremely hard to do.
But it looked really good in this film. There was a lot of water in the
I heard
film.
it's really tough in movies and like animations like this and in video games. So if a company does it really well, you know it's obvious they know what they're doing.
Well, it's not a. Honestly, when water is the first time you have successfully animated water, I think every studio is going to be fine the minute after that happens because
It's
you're
all
not
shared.
you're not expecting your water to look different than the other movie, right?
But it does.
But water and smoke is hard. CG wise.
Okay, I'll go next, and then we'll let our guest kind of finish out the number on it. Okay, I'm gonna take into account that I think that just because I have other movies that are ridiculously that I would consider hundreds, I think I could have a million movies sitting at 8.5 if I wanted to. This movie delivered way more than I was expecting. Way more than I was expecting. And while it was missing a story, which is something I actually really value in a film, it had rewatch value. It had a lot more to offer than just the story itself.
It just didn't need a story.
It didn't need it, which is on its own.
It had a
huge.
basic structure of a story, but it didn't really. Yeah, there was no character development. Really.
Exactly. I think I would give this film an 8.7, maybe a 9. I think this movie delivered so much, and this movie will be remembered in 10 years as the starting point for a new generation of movies that are going to follow this. I really do believe that if
That's a bold statement, Cotton.
well, we'll see if I'm right.
Lives up to it.
We'll see if I'm right, because I think
I'm
that
gonna call you in 10 years.
I'm not going to take your call. I'm not going to take your
Where's the Mario verse at now, bitch?
You remember that one obscure statement you made when we had 50 subscribers?
You send him the link to the YouTube
Well, how
video.
stupid do you feel now?
I'm gonna remember this shit forever.
I'm gonna have to cancel, close my Twitter, or private my Twitter, and everything. I think this movie will be remembered, especially if we see Illumination Studios continue with this trend of making stories without messaging and stories that focus on entertainment and taking people out of the real world and putting them into an enjoyable experience with their friends and family. I think we're set. I think that's all anyone who's critical of movies today is asking for.
Yeah, they had that little preview of a little snippet of a bunch of shit that Illumination's done, like Despicable Me and Secret Life of Pets and whatnot. I didn't realize they did a lot of that shit.
Well, and it was weird timing too, because they're like the studio that brought you this movie you haven't seen yet. Yeah, in the trailers, Illumination Studios was propping up their next film, which I've
Look
already
what
forgotten.
we've done.
What's the-
Elements.
Elements.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Which it looks like it'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be a movie you bring your kids
Oh,
to.
it's like
Yeah.
a big.
More than this one even.
Yeah.
It's like a allegory for segregation. That's what I got right away.
Probably.
It's like, yeah, the elements. We
Yeah.
don't talk to each other.
Did you guys
Fuck
did you guys watch that movie Bright on Netflix a few years back?
I've scrolled past it a billion times. Haven't checked it.
It's good, but it's very political. It's very
it is?
inclusive. Yeah.
Well, that's not what I would have expected from a movie that has monsters in it.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
Well, that's all right, Colton. So what did you think?
I liked it. I mean, I'll give it an 8. I'm not going to go into the depth that you did because
Sure. My monologue.
I don't think that way about life in general. But I'll give it an 8. It was good. I'll go by it.
Prepping his speech like he
Alright.
was in high school.
Yeah.
Stand up in front of the class.
All I've been
What'd you
thinking
think
about.
about it?
Let me take you back a year. Let's rewind. circle back. So, I think we're a little bit early, but I think we'll probably call it there.
An hour review is not bad.
No, this is I mean, we got really deep in on this movie, and I had a lot of fun talking about it, and I had...
It's like we all had a great time, but there isn't a whole lot to like latch onto to talk about, except for like moments in it.
Yeah, minor scenes that were
References.
just funny.
The thing is that this movie grabs from an entire universe around it that already exists. An entire ecosystem of already successful content, games.
I want to go back and look at the scene with the antique shop when they were running through the Toad Village, or the Toad City.
Yeah.
And there's an antique shop where he was trying to sell someone
What was
something.
that?
And I want to know what's all in that shop, because I'm sure there's a bunch of Easter eggs in there, too.
Oh, I want to know what that was, too. He's like, you got to breathe it in and
Yeah.
something like that. I was like, what the hell was that?
I don't remember that at all.
It was
Oh.
between the... It's between the, I'm going to take you to the princess.
Oh, no.
It was in the
Castle.
background of a main scene, too. It
Right.
wasn't, like, focused on that.
What was your favorite moment in this movie?
The first time we're introduced to that horribly depressing...
Luma Lee.
Luma Lee.
Lee.
I'm never going to remember that name, but I will always remember that character. I'll never get the name again, but Luma Lee. Okay. Slim, what was your favorite scene in this movie?
It's just a what the fuck moment.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, we're all gonna die. Wee.
More meat for the grinder.
Yeah, more prisoners come in. Yay, more meat for the grinder. What's wrong with him? Everything's darkness. Would you shut up?
I'm already depressed.
It's already depressing in you. I like Bowser's entrance scene.
That was-
Really good. He just destroys everything.
It was iconic, too.
It was
I mean,
really
that was a
good.
moment that I remembered from the trailer thinking, I'm kind of hyped.
This is
Yeah.
just a taste of our fury.
Yeah, all the penguins throwing snowballs at him.
Colton, your favorite moment? Did you have a favorite moment or a favorite scene?
Not really. I would say maybe the Rainbow Road, just because it was
That was
Kind of fun.
fun.
My
Everyone got
I mean,
PTSD for
I was like, don't fall off, don't fall off.
fall off.
The final fight scene to me was very short.
It was.
Like, it didn't take long to
Right.
defeat Bowser.
Well, the movie was already at its runtime. If they
Yeah,
had an
that's
extra
true.
30 minutes to
Hey,
go
you're
back.
just not gonna let that go, are you?
It's a problem.
I
think it
want
should
more
have been a little longer.
Mario.
I think it should have been a little longer, or at least they should have another movie
Go
ready
back
to come
and
out
watch the
immediately
93 one.
after. What was that?
Go back and watch one from 93 if you want to see more Mario.
You think they're gonna come out with an extended edition of Super Mario Bros?
Right. My favorite scene from the entire movie was the
I don't remember asking. you.
montage. We gotta have a
Montage.
montage. The
Which
montage was
montage?
actually my favorite moment in the entire movie.
The one where
because-
he never made it through level 1?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason is because I played so many different Mario, so many different Nintendo games, and that is such a relatable scene. If you have played any of those games, you are trying to beat the same nonsense over and over, and it's super stressful. And by the time you're at the end of it, you're like, or by the time you get to one point and you figure out, like, yes, you celebrate, the brick falls out from under you, and I'm just like, this is so damn relatable. I feel that I lived this moment so much in my childhood. That was my favorite scene.
There were so many tiny little scenes. They weren't even scenes, just moments that made me go, oh, or huh. Just
Yeah.
that I enjoyed a lot.
How old is Mario and Luigi supposed to be?
The
They seem like grown ass men that own a plumbing business.
Live in their parents'
Made a
house.
commercial. Yeah, they even got mustaches.
Yeah, so like 25.
Okay.
Okay, but to be fair, they haven't aged in 40 years.
And why is plumbing their dream? It's like
don't know.
you quit your job to follow your dream. What, plumbing?
Yeah,
All right.
some people have dreams.
Did you guys notice when he
people
went through the clear pipe to get to the castle? Where he stopped and he's like, that's a really nice pipe. And then he got sucked into it. That was funny.
And then it's this mess of other pipes.
Yeah.
That keeps
Like,
coming out
come
the
on.
wrong one. I never saw that in a Mario game where you just are in this mess of tubes that you have to find your way through. I don't know what that game reference was, but it was enjoyable.
I'm sure there's one somewhere.
Well, final thoughts, guys?
We just did them.
All right.
Yeah, that was the final thoughts.
Well, we'll call
Yeah.
it there. Thank you guys so much for hanging out in this episode of Third Party Podcast. We are not going to be doing a war room on this episode just because we took our time to do the review of the movie and we had a lot of fun doing that. We will continue to do the war room going forward. But thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you guys really enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys go to check out the Mario movie if you haven't seen it yet. Hit us up and tell us what you thought of it in the comments. Like the video, share the video around, subscribe to the channel. We are trying our best to hit 100 subscribers, and we could really use some help getting there. So we hope we will see you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace.
Bitches.
And hoes.